I honestly wasn't even expecting to make a video like this. Because if you've watched me for a while, you know I rarely make rant videos like this. But this was something I could not just let slide under my radar. And since I figured everyone else is already making videos on it, I might as well hop on the trend too. Because this has to be one of, if not the worst take on Roblox asym games I've ever seen. And the video in question is Roblox asym games suck and I hate them, made by Pablo, previously titled Roblox asym games terrible games made for terrible people. And when I first saw everybody clowning on this guy, I thought they were maybe just overreacting or maybe they were over-exaggerating. So I went into his video with an open mind. I expected the usual reviews and criticisms, the usual stuff you'd expect from an asym game review. And let me tell you, boy was I wrong. So today we're going to be breaking down all the points he makes about all the games he reviews in this video, why they're flawed and why they make zero sense, and how he's just blatantly hating on the games without actually providing proper criticism and doing zero research. Let's get into the video.
Guys, it's me, everyone's favorite Roblox YouTuber. That's what I'm known for. I am the Roblox guy. Yummy yummy Roblox slop for my tummy.
Already off to a great start, I can see.
Back when I was working on the Befriend the Retro Slop video, I had a section written out about asymmetrical horror games, meant to be used in the first draft of the video, back when it was still about Retro Slop as a whole. I already had my thoughts written out, so I might as well share them with the class, refine my original points, and turn it into its own video. I find the general landscape of asym games to be interesting. It's a concept that's been regurgitated ad nauseum, always slightly different, yet they all fall into the same idea.
I'm just going to skip this second part because he basically just explains what an asym game is. So without further ado, let's just get into his first review of his first game.
Forsaken is a blight on this platform, and serves as the cause of the current landscape of asym games on Roblox. If something is synonymous with the term, it was more than likely inspired by this hog shit. I need to make it clear, I am heavily biased. I hate this game. This video is entirely my own opinion, but before we continue, I feel the need to reiterate that.
Keep this specific part of the video in mind because it will be important for later.
Words are my own. My opinion is my own. And my own opinion is that I fucking despise this game. The gameplay loop is just Dead by Daylight but worse.
Now, I can't really say much about this part because I've never played Dead by Daylight and I'm probably never going to play Dead by Daylight, but based off what I've seen, it doesn't really look that fun, bro, so you can calm down with the glaze.
Every map has around 5 generators for you to complete, featuring a recreation of the iconic Flow Free app. The issue is, doing it doesn't matter. If you go out of your way to do the objective, it doesn't unlock a win condition. The only reason there would or should be a goal in a game like Forsaken. Completing a task on a generator lowers the time of the round by a small amount, give or take a few seconds. And that's fine, I guess. Dead by Daylight still does it better, but it's better than nothing. It still doesn't give you a way to escape, but it lets you play the game for less time. But it's only fine in concept. In practice, it doesn't do much when the killer adds time back to the round by doing their job and killing everyone.
The point he made about the generators and how the killers can switch back on it by killing people to add more time to the clock was so unbelievably bad. So let's break it down. While yes, you aren't forced to do the generators, it is very much necessary, and I don't think you realize how much time you can get off the clock just by doing generators. And mind you, generators are one of the main ways you can become killer in this game. And about the killers adding more time to the clock by killing the survivor is a way to balance it out for both sides. Because if you weren't able to do that, it would be borderline impossible to win as a killer in this game. Because in this game, every second counts. Especially in a game as survivor-sided as Forsaken, where most times as a killer, you have to spend more than an entire minute just to kill one survivor.
Forsaken's identity is very disjointed.
Man finds fork in kitchen.
It's trying to be its own thing, yet relies on old Roblox as the base for everything gameplay-wise. The roster of this game is either based off of old Roblox properties or are my awesome cool OC that everyone loves.
God forbid they want to add their original characters to the game.
Said OCs just happen to have more complicated movesets or are fucking terrible to play against. In the same cast, you have characters like Shedletsky, who has access to a sword with a very small hitbox, and chicken that can be used twice that heals up to 40 HP. Or Elliot, who has a pizza and a speed boost.
This guy has at minimum 2 days of playtime on the game. Like, do I even need to explain why this point he makes is stupid? He also has a little mini section about 2-time, and I will give him credit where credit is due because he actually does make a good point about 2-time and how he's busted. Cannot say the same for this next part though.
The designs of certain characters were changed in an attempt to make them more unique or scarier, but in practice look like they were drawn by a 12-year-old on Tumblr.
Where? I'm sorry, maybe I'm just missing the point, but where does it look like it was drawn by a 10-year-old? Because if you're talking about the Guest 66 on the left, then you would be correct. But I don't get how you can see the Guest 666 on the right as drawn by a 12-year-old. Like, God forbid they want to add a unique character design.
These are supposed to be the same character. The maps are references to older Roblox games, save for 2, and those 2 just happen to be some of the worst maps in the game. It's pretty cool that everything original tends to either fall flat or be busted beyond recognition.
Very good point. I won't fully disagree with you on that.
Really neat stuff there. It's fine though, because you don't play Forsaken because you like the game. You don't play it because the gameplay is good. You play it because you have an unhealthy infatuation with real people.
This mini side quest rant he makes about the Forsaken fandom is so unbelievably bad.
There's a cognitive dissonance the Forsaken community has when it comes to specific characters. Shedletsky is a character in the game, but he's based off of a real person. The Roblox user, John Shedletsky, has an avatar directly based off of himself. It's an avatar, sure, but it's still meant to be him. It's not an OC, it's a persona.
Shedletsky himself has literally said that the Roblox character is completely separate from his IRL persona, and he doesn't care what they do with the Roblox character. And he's played Forsaken before, mind you.
It's the guy John Shedletsky in Roblox. But you know, don't tell that to the people drawing him as a 400-pound chicken.
It's called a body type for a character. You cannot be this brain dead. Don't get me wrong, I get if they draw him like obese or something, and if you find it disgusting, that's completely understandable. But getting mad just because they drew him slightly chubby is just absolute hypocrisy. It's called a damn body type, you idiot.
And is heavily monetized. During the Halloween event, there was a killer that would take you multiple weeks to unlock using the in-game currency. But if you were to spend real-world money to skip the grind, it would cost a minimum of 60 USD.
It's an option, and it's up to them if they want to spend real-life money to get a Roblox killer. Literally, what was the point of even saying this?
I find that atrocious, especially when the killer was brought to the base shop less than a month later. The killer, mind you, being incredibly broken.
I genuinely can't take you seriously if you mention Nosferatu and then the word broken in the same sentence. Genuine proof that this dude has at least no more than 2 days of playtime.
Kirk genuinely Nosferatu is the first pay-to-win asym killer. There is also an enormous amount of skins, most of which being references to pre-existing media. It's designed so if the player recognizes something they like, they will be more inclined to either continue playing or to spend money. They recognize their favorite character, and they want to show their appreciation for their special interest. There's nothing inherently wrong with cosmetics. You're allowed to make money off of your product. I just wish the customization wasn't lazy. I wish it was unique, instead of feeding into the pre-existent love of their players.
I won't fully disagree with you on that part. Oh, and I'm gonna skip the Pillar Chase 2 section since I haven't played Pillar Chase 2, so I can't really give an opinion on that part.
Fate. Doom by Fate. I have to be honest, man, I have no idea what the fuck this is. Before I played it, I didn't understand what it was supposed to be, and after playing it, I still don't understand what it's supposed to be. The gameplay is the idea of content. Things happen, but none of it feels real. It's the first dream-type game in the sense that both during and after a round, I don't understand what's going on. Doom by Fate's identity is directly tied to old Roblox, despite looking nothing like it, minus the characters and the fucking stud textures everywhere. But that's not it. It's also tied to the winner for the most milked IP in any game ever, Limbus Company.
And grass is green.
Another epidemic that can be traced back to the machinations of Soul-Driven Love, I Am a Groomer that is still being paid by the dev team Forsaken, is the rampant references to Project Moon in every game they have ever made. This much. Forsaken itself has multiple skins related to Limbus. There's an NPC in the lobby that's just Roland from Library of Ruina. It's led to people knowing about Project Moon, but only in relation to Forsaken, not as its own idea. Doom by Fate goes even further by making the entire game's identity directly tied to Limbus Company. Just like before, there are skins, but there's also maps that are straight up just locations from Project Moon. The HUD and UI elements are the same. There are memes and references to Limbus littered throughout the spawn. It's a mess. It's melding two ideas together that were never meant to and don't mesh well for the sake of popularity.
Hey buddy, I know this is gonna sound shocking, but there's this thing called inspiration. I know it's crazy, but they didn't just outright copy it, they took inspiration from it. Insane, right?
The game as a whole feels very rushed, which I don't understand how that could happen, considering it's a free game for child age 2 or some. The gameplay is the exact same as Forsaken, but faster, and with even less of a reason to do the objective. The game is supposed to be focused on directly fighting the killer, but because of the speed at play, the hitboxes feel non-existent. I've had moments where I've been out of a hitbox and still hit, or I blocked an attack only to still take damage.
Yeah, no duh, the hitboxes aren't gonna be perfect. It's on Roblox. Every asym game on Roblox has poor hitboxes in some way.
The speed makes it feel like there's more going on, but at the cost of functional gameplay. I do think the abilities survivors have are really cool. I like how everyone has their own place with subcategories in each spot. Bacon Hair is self-sufficient. He has a quick stun, a heal, and a recon tool. Jane Doe is a healer with a stun if needed. Soldier has an infinite block if you can hit it properly, and a shotgun. The Jester is a zoner that slows the killer with their traps. Despite the quality of the game, it's unique. Which is what I thought until I found out the shotgun is the exact same as a weapon in a different game.
This part of his video genuinely had me stunned for a few minutes due to just how poor and stupid this point was. Hey buddy, guess what? That different game didn't invent shotguns.
And the Jester's abilities are an exact one-to-one of a killer from Die of Death.
Are we being serious? Are we genuinely being serious? This guy does not know the definition of inspiration. Oh my god.
I keep comparing Doom by Fate to Forsaken because its core identity is the same game. It's slightly different, but at its core they are identical.
No duh, they're part of the same genre, like what are we talking about? I'm not even going to go over his Pawned by 14 section, but to summarize it, he basically uses the term retro slop for the game, that's basically what he's calling it, just because it uses old Roblox, while doing little to no research and have barely played the game. And you can tell he's barely played the game. And using the term retro slop in the big 26. Brother, what are we doing? And mind you, he proceeds to glaze the hell out of Biased in his next section. You remember the pattern he has of only saying negative things about the asym games and saying nothing positive? Well, apparently for Biased, he completely switches up. Not talking about any of the balancing problems it has and only talking about the positive. It's specifically for this game. Like, bro, we can't be serious.
Die of Death is an odd one. The first time I played it, I didn't like it, and thought it was rather awful. Currently, I don't believe that. The game is pretty alright, but only in comparison to everything else. As a base, it's rather dull. There's no objective. There's nothing for you to do to give you the idea of a goal. You run around, find the killer, run away or fight, then die or win. The end. There's nothing else to it.
You can literally say the same for any other asym game by your logic.
I don't believe Die of Death has an identity of its own. In comparison to Biased, if I showed you these two games side by side in the same aspect ratio, would you know that they are two different games by different people, or the same game at different points of development? They're both so retro. They are both asymmetrical horror games with big quotation marks around horror, the same gameplay loop, the exact same death screen. The only difference is one has an objective to complete and random items around the map, and the other is a roguelike with no purpose. When you take away the one unique thing they have, they are pretty much the same game. It's a burger with different condiments. No matter what you drench it in, it's still meat on a bun. This stretches across everything I've talked about so far, but you've already caught on to that by now. All of these games play the same, and I find that disappointing. I guess that comes with these games being asyms, but they don't have to be, you know? You don't have to make the same game every time. But people do, and people will continue to, because no matter the quality, there will always be someone to gobble up the slop. Die of Death disappoints me, because it tries to be unique, but it doesn't commit to anything. It has elements of a roguelike, but it's still just another asymmetrical horror game. It falls under the retro aesthetic, but it feels like it's just slapped on, rather than it being an intentional design choice. This game could be good, but it's not, at least to me.
This has to be one of, if not the worst points he's made in this entire video. And don't worry, it gets worse, cause just listen to this next section.
A lot of the time in the description, these games say they were not meant to be taken seriously, or were made as a joke. And that's fine, you can make something a joke, but you still made a game. You made a game that's available to the public, so it's allowed to be criticized. If a joke isn't funny, you don't laugh. Die of Death in specific was supposedly made for fun.
Again, little to zero research. Die of Death is clearly not a joke game anymore, and it hasn't been for a while now. Saucify has been taking and receiving criticisms to better balance his game.
This video is very negative. I don't want to be mean, but I have to. I don't like these games, but I wish I did. When I see these games, I see their flaws. I see a bare-bones mock-up designed for profit. They try to be asymmetrical horror games, but fundamentally do not understand what makes a game like this work. There's no real objective. There is no end goal. It's the idea of a game with no substance. These developers are copying off of each other's homework and changing nothing, but all of them have a different professor, so they get away with it scot-free. I made a separate video on Dandy's World because objectively, it does this concept better than anything in this video, and it's not even an asym. I can play Dandy's World for hours on end and not get bored, but I have to force myself to engage with these games in order to have enough footage to write down notes. I wish I liked these games, but I don't. Out of everything available, there's only one asym that I genuinely like. This game doesn't take itself seriously. This game isn't meant to be good. This game is a joke, and it's been a joke since the beginning. That game is you versus Homer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't even need to say anything for this section. He basically proceeds to glaze the hell out of you versus Homer, which is pretty ironic considering he included Bear in this video. Anyways, in conclusion, this is one of the worst takes I've seen, and the points are very poor, and this video just sucks in general. Anyway, if you want to see more videos like this, then go ahead and like and subscribe. It encourages me to make more videos like this. And with that, I will see you in the next one. Bye.